I'm really glad that you brought that up.
Guess where we're going.
Because, we're talking about rotation, and another great way for people to start to implement rotation into their program if they haven't, is to take that split stance or that B stance. But you know what? Let's do a single arm tubing chest press and add a little bit of a rotational component. As long as you're not moving your torso forward and back, keeping your torso still, but
is it like you're throwing a punch?
Punching through with your the arm that's working or the side that has the tube, and then rotating through your thoracic. I'm trying to break it down for people. Through your torso, and get a little bit of protraction or reach through that shoulder blade, and then slowly coming out of it. So then you're working the eccentric component of the rotation.
A lot of nuance to what you just said right there.
I'm just trying to think about how can I break it down?
Yeah, you're in a split stance, right? Maybe you're in front of a cable machine, or you have a band or a tubing in your right hand. Your left foot's forward. You're in that almost like a lunge. Looks like a lunge position. Back leg's going to be straight though, so you're nice and stable. Nice wide base of support. Right, and then you're going to basically do a chest press. But within that chest press, what you're saying is reach through that press at the end, give that rotation, give that protraction through the shoulder blade, and then really control coming back through it and go counter rotate, right? And so you're working through those rotations. I don't know if that's helpful for people. We have this stuff on our YouTube channel, so they can go see it, and we'll reference that again at the end. But that's a really good point. It's a really good point, a place to kind of start working it. God, how practical is that?
Yeah.
I mean, how practical is that if you're training for combatives? Like, fuck it, fight me on this.
Yeah.
Like, that is a fantastic movement, and stop with like trying to make it go fast, right? Or trying to make it uber heavy. Just work through the movement pattern and make sure that all of those things are working or firing in conjunction with one another, and you just feel really solid. And then over time, you transition that into. And watch how it transitions into your bag work, in your glove work or your mitt work, right? Those type of things. That's a very, very.
We want movement patterns to look like Michael Jackson moonwalking. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Like smooth, sexy, just fucking solid.
Yeah. Don't think of it as a press. Think of it as a rotation that has a press. Right, as a way to look at that. Quick transition right into the lateral movement, because everything we just said, if you listen to any of that and any of that resonated with you, it's the same in lateral movements, right? From the sense that things are connected. We're just not connected front and back. We just talked about the rotational component there. We also have these lateral chains, right? That go from, let's just say, that little bony piece, lateral malleolus on the outside of your ankle.
Man, that's hot.
Right? You move all the way up through the knee, come through the hip, go up through the rib cage, right? All the way up to the shoulder, and then out through the arm, elbow, and wrist. It's all connected. So you have these lateral chains as well. And so again, when I see people moving laterally, there's almost always going to be rotation in that, right? Because unless you're like literally doing like a crab walk where you're trying to minimize that, for people that might not know what that is, it's like when you take the booty bands and you put it around your knee and you're stepping to the side laterally. Call that a crab walk. Maybe it's wrapped around your ankles. There's just several variations of how you might add modalities to this, but you're not getting a lot of rotation, very, very little rotation, versus if you're doing like a karaoke or a side shuffle. Even if you're side shuffling, you're rotating, right? Your body's rotating to a certain extent. The more advanced thing would be like an ice skater. So if you're laterally bounding from one side to the other, you're reducing, you're compressing, coiling, and then you're moving back to. Rotation is involved in all of those things. Just to what degree has a lot to do with speed and velocity. So force and velocity. Sorry. So and the mass. That you're trying to move and control. Anyhow, the point of this is these lateral movements. Go to the gym. How many people are moving laterally doing anything?
And if they are, I'm watching them. Yeah. It's a sight to see.
Yeah, so
it is. You're right, because so many people, they just don't move laterally. So
it's refreshing.
What's the benefit there, right? What are the benefits to moving laterally in terms of building strength and power.
You were talking about barricade work earlier, right? So just
for those shooters, yeah.
Exactly. So just in a position for that, and if everyone who listens who shoots and wants to move around barricade, well, when I'm coming up on a barricade and I get my distance, guess what? I'm going to step and I'm going to push out laterally, right? Mm-hmm. Whether that's one knee down, I'm standing with one knee up. I need to be able to move over laterally in transition. If you're a USPSA shooter, right? I mean,
tons of lateral movement.
You're going to karaoke and you're going to move and you're going to do things that the whole tactical world is like, no, don't ever cross your feet, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, if you can move, you're aware of your body, you can do whatever you want to with whatever you have in your hand and whatever tool it is, right?
This goes back to the beginning, yeah.
You're going to be a savage.
Awareness,
you're going to be fucking savage.
Yeah.
But like you're talking about moving from barricade to barricade laterally and getting, let's say you're shot off, keeping your gun down range, well, now I have to move. And these are all specific rules. It's not real life. But just being able to do these certain things while moving laterally, right? As we're talking about rotation and all this stuff, it all comes into the same play.